for the cook-along with Charlotte / Raffy. Raff's got his hat on, ready to go. Today we're going to be making a fish cake recipe, so I have posted the recipe in my stories. It's on my blog. If you go to my blog, it's the second link down, so everyone has access to the ingredients, and I've also got someone who's going to be joining in and just helping to answer questions. So I'm really excited to do this again. Last time was fantastic. We got such great engagement. People loved it, and I think it just helps to fill the time a little bit. Did you enjoy it last time, Raffy? Did you enjoy the cook-along? Yeah. Yeah? He's been asking all week, when are we doing the cook-along? And so today he's been banging at the window going, are we ready yet? Are we ready yet? Anyway, first of all, before we start, we will do that in one sec, Raff. Don't break the bowl. Before we start, what I need you to do is get your parents, if you are with your parents, to boil the kettle and preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius. If we can get the oven preheated and the kettle, well, we kind of need that, Raff, for the recipe. If we can get to preheat the oven, boil a kettle, start boiling some water on the hob as well, if you would rather do that than boil a kettle, because we need to get the potatoes on quite quickly. The potatoes, unbelievable. We need that, Raff.
I just cried them and then I will do it back on there.
Okay, you're trying some and then you put it back. Okay, I'll try and keep the hat up this time so Raff can see. But I promise you last time he could see, it was just below the eye line. Also, we've washed all of our ingredients and we're going to do a quick ingredient run through. But first of all, if Raff can put down the old tomato, you're going to do your wash your hands song. And the other one. Hooray! Scrub them together. There's lots of soap in there. Scrub them together. Whoa. Good boy. Good boy. Now we're going to dry them on this. Okay? So good idea to wash your hands, as I said last time, just to make sure that you are ready. In case I can't believe he's eating the ingredients already. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is run through the ingredients so that everybody has the right stuff on them. Some of it we're going to weigh out as we go along, and others of it we are going to, I've already pre-weighed. So, Raff, can you tell me what we've got on here? What have we got? Fish, good boy. So I've chosen sardines in tomato sauce because that was all I could get in the supermarket. But standard fish is fine. Tuna, salmon, mackerel, whatever you can get. Ideally not in brine because that's added salt. But whatever you can get, tin fish and fresh fish works just as well. What else have we got ingredient-wise?
This.
Well, we did have a tomato. In terms of the vegetables in this, I've just literally dug out leftovers from the fridge. So you can use whatever leftovers you've got. Absolutely fine, super easy. And you just need 3 different options. It doesn't really matter on the amounts, although we've said, you know, roughly a quarter of a courgette, 1 tomato, 1 carrot would be absolutely fine. What other ingredients have we got? Can you show me? What else have we got? Courgette, yeah, what's that? No, don't eat that one, Raff. Broccoli, yeah. And what's in here? Egg. So we've also got 1 egg. Perfect. Careful before we break it. We've also got some, what's this? Can you tell me what that is?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. What is it? Flour, good boy. So we've got some flour, which we need about 50 grams of flour. We've got, what's this, Raff?
Oatmeal.
Yeah, we're using some oat milk today, so about 50 mils of oat milk. We've also got some butter that Raffy's going to use to grease our baking tray in a second. And I've also already weighed out and grated some cheese. So it's 50 grams of cheese. You can have a tiny little bit of the cheese, yeah. So before we start, or not before we start, as we start, what we're going to need to do first and foremost is we're going to need to peel and chop the potatoes. So sorry, I haven't said potatoes. Raff. We're not really supposed to be eating it. I'll get you some cheese in a minute, Bubba, because we've got to put that in the recipe. If we eat it, we won't have anything left to make the recipe with. Potatoes, around 350 grams or 2 medium potatoes is ideal for this recipe. So I'm going to get to work peeling and chopping them, and I'm going to put Raffy to work so he doesn't eat every single morsel of ingredients. Right, we're going to grease a baking tray first. So, baking tray, 12 tins is perfect. This recipe is so easy because you literally just, basically, you do have to cook the potatoes, But other than that, you just mash all the ingredients together and you pop them into the oven, and that's pretty much it. So it's really simple. Lots of these ingredients are good store cupboard staple options as well. So what I'm going to get Raffy to do is grease the tray for me. So what you're going to do, Raffy, is you're going to dip this, rather than dipping it in the tomato, you're going to dip this in there, and I want you to put them like this in each of these. So just put a little bit of butter in all of these trays. Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the butter there for you. And I, in the meantime, I'm going to peel and chop the potatoes. Now, with the potatoes, it's really good. The smaller you can chop them, the better. So, obviously, you might need your parents to help you with this if you are younger, if you're not sure. So, get the little ones. Oh, sorry, let me lift your hat up. Just tell me if your hat goes over your eyes, okay? And I'll lift it up for you, okay? I need to get him a smaller hat. If you can get kids involved in other bits, so for example, Raff's doing the tray greasing, which is brilliant for me. You can also get knives for younger children. I don't have them myself, but I'm going to get Raffy to help me with chopping the vegetables in a bit. Anyway, so you're doing a good job there, aren't you?
What's that?
What's what?
Red.
Well, it's a bit of the potato skin that's flown in there. So we are, the reason why we have to do this quite quickly is because it takes 10 to 15 minutes for the potatoes to boil. Now I've got my potato water boiling already so that it's going to go in and hopefully will be quite quick. But they need to be quite soft when we cook them because they need to mash up really, really nicely with the fish. So what I'm going to do is chop these really small now. So I've just peeled them all. I'm going to give them a really good chop so they're really, really nice and small. Peeling them just helps to make them a little bit more, a bit easier, get it easy to mash, a bit less lumpy. And there's lots and lots of textures in this, so we don't really need the added textures. You could leave the skin on if you want to. You don't absolutely have to remove the skin, but you can do. You've done a really good job there, Raff. You have blended a bit of potato skin in with some of that, but you're doing a really good job. Thank you for that. Are you enjoying that? Raffy? Do you like cooking with Mummy?
Yeah.
Does anyone else have with their toddler when they're concentrating in any way? It's almost like he doesn't hear me. Whenever he's concentrating, can you hear Mummy? Raff?
Yes.
You can hear Mummy. Oh, you've got one more to do, look. You've got this one to do. So giving them little mini jobs can be really, really good. I mean, obviously, it's not going to go completely to plan when you are cooking with a toddler, but giving them little mini jobs that they can do is great. Do you want to hold the tray up, Raff, so we can see how well you've greased it? Can you hold it up to the camera? Yeah? Oh, brilliant! Look at that greasing ability! You've done, yeah, good boy, that's it, that's brilliant, Raff. So show people, and the reason, do you know why we grease the tin?
I don't know.
So we grease the tin so that when we put our fish cakes in it at the end, they don't stick. We're going to do that in a second, Raff. Just give me a minute. No, not yet. Just give me 1 second and we'll do it together, won't we? See, cooking with toddlers, I mean, last time he sat still, was quite obedient. This time, he's eating my cheese, eating my tomato. He's obviously a bit hyper this time round, but this is what it's like cooking with toddlers, and when we're all stuck at home, it's always nice to have a few activities to do with kids as well. And if they're a bit older as well, they might be able to do a little bit more. So, I have got all my potatoes ready. So I have chopped them pretty small. I've chopped them pretty small so that they don't take quite so long to cook. And I'm just going to now pop them in the pan of boiling water, and they're going to go in there for about 10 to 15 minutes. So it's 10 past 12 now, so hopefully by about 20 past they should be ready. I'll leave you with Raffy for 1 minute. Can you tell them a story on the camera of what you've been doing today? Where did we go this morning?
Piggy on the wall, shouldn't be there. Oh no, here comes the engine. Piggy beware. Hey, said the driver, get off the track. Piggy ran away and he never came back.
Woo! That was a great rendition. Well done, Raff. Right, so what we are going to do now, we've got the potatoes on and done. We're going to weigh out the milk and the flour, and you're going to also help me. We'll put this to the side because we're going to use that later. You're going to help me to weigh out some of these ingredients. I mean, honestly, there is no cheese left, and the tomato, there is no tomato left. So we will wing it, won't we, Raff? So what we're going to do is we're going to weigh out some milk. So we need 50 mils of milk. We've chosen oat milk because Raffy isn't really supposed to eat much in the way of dairy. He's supposed to have small amounts every now and then. So we do tend to use oat milk. Do you want to help me to weigh it out? I'll hold the cup.
No, but I want some oat milk.
Yeah, you can have some oat milk, but we've got to pour it in here for the recipe. Can you help me? There we go. So we want 50 mils.
Can I try some of that oat milk?
Okay, I'll put a little bit more in and you can try just a bit off the top, okay? Whoa. Thank goodness for the apron. That's it, just a bit off the top because we need 50 mils of that. And then what I want you to do is help me to crack the egg, because you like doing that, don't you? So we've weighed out our 50 mils of milk. We've got our 50 grams, probably now more like 8 of cheese.
Put it here, please.
Yeah, are you going to help me crack the egg?
I can put it here.
Well, I can't put it here because people need to see it on here, don't they?
Oh, no, but I want you to put it there.
Okay, we will in a sec.
Please.
Can you? What do you want there? The egg?
No, the milk.
Oh, the milk. Okay, well, I'll get you some milk in a moment. Hold on, let's crack the egg then.
Are you going to get me some oat milk?
Yes, in a minute.
Some of that oat milk.
Now, listen, there's lots and lots of people trying to cook along on here. They want to know what's next. Okay, so let's crack the egg. Gonna crack the egg, good boy.
Don't let any shelling.
Don't let any shelling, that's it, good boy. That's great egg cracking. Raffy's been doing that with me for quite a while, so he's quite experienced at it now. Do you want a cloth?
No spoon.
You want a spoon?
In here.
Okay, I'll get you a spoon in just a sec. So,
Let's use this.
so we've weighed out that, we've got the egg in there. Now what we are going to be doing is we need to weigh the flour out. The flour's going to be separate. So I'm going to put the flour into a separate bowl and I'm going to weigh out another 50 grams of that as well. So, let's do this. So Raph, can you help me weigh this out? We need to weigh out 50 grams of this. Okay, can you help me?
This was some real milk.
Oh, there we go. 50 grams of flour. Perfect.
Try some more milk.
Yeah, and we're going to put the
A
flour...
little bit more milk.
Yes, you can have a little bit more milk. And we're going to put the flour to the side. Honestly, I gave him a couple of snacks before we started. I'll get you a little bit of milk. Just 1 second, Raph.
Some of that oat milk.
Yes, I'll get you some oat milk. Give me 1 second. Raph, listen. We've got to show people how to do the cooking. It's not about you eating on camera. People see that enough, my dear. There you go, there's some oat milk. So drink that. Right, so, sorry about that. We've got flour, we've got our cheese, we've got our egg, and what we're going to do is we're going to mix in our egg with the milk, okay? So can you do me a favour, Raph, and stir this milk into here for me? Stir the milk in with the egg. And while Raph's doing that, I'm going to start chopping some of the veggies that we've got as well. So I'm going to use about 1/4 of a courgette. I'm going to chop it up really nice and thinly, and I'm literally just using bits of this leftover broccoli. The stalk is absolutely fine, so you can use some of the stalk. I'm just going to use a small amount of that, and I'll probably get another tomato out of the fridge, to be honest. So here we go. I can't actually see what any of you are saying, so I hope it's all going okay. So I'm going to chop up this broccoli. Actually, Raph, do you want to peel those apart for me?
Yeah.
Do you want to peel them apart? And I think some of that milk... Did you pour some of the milk in with the egg?
No.
You didn't, you drank it. Okay, we might have to add a bit more milk. I'm going to use, obviously, sharp knives, anything like that. It's best to obviously do that yourself as an adult. So I'm going to do anything that takes sharp knives, like this. Are you okay with your hat? Do you want to sing another song, Raffy, while Mummy's chopping up? What about the piggy song that Grandma sings?
Picking away, picking up stones along.
Ah, well done. Good singing. So, I'm going to chop all the veggies up. Oh, thank you. You separated this for me, yeah? So, and I'm going to put them all to the side because the veggies are what we're going to add later. Now again, I find eggs such a great way to get extra food into Raffy's diet. To get extra veggies into Raffy's diet. Eggs, whether it be omelettes, whether it be frittatas, whether it be something like, adding it to a potato fish cake like this, is absolutely perfect way to do that. So, and as I said, really this is about using up leftovers. So this is leftover broccoli. We've got quite a few courgettes in the cupboard, so I'm just using up what we have got. The veggies don't need cooking beforehand. They will cook once they're in the oven.
I'm going to put some more oat milk in.
No, there's no more oat milk, Russell. We just have to give this a really, really, really good stir for me if you can. Okay? Give me a really good stir. And what I was going to do is, if I get some tomatoes, can you help me to chop that tomato up? So Raffy, I've got a really non-sharp knife for Raffy to use here. Can you help me to chop up the tomato here, Raffy, with this knife? Do you want to help me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go on then, give it a go. Good boy. So, the other thing we can do is you can add the cheese to the milk mixture now if you want to, or you can add it when the potatoes are ready in a little bit of time. I'm going to get just really gently, do you want a fork to help you to do that? No, okay. So Raph's actually getting quite good at using the cutlery. He's getting quite good at learning how to chop things. And eats the cheese. Come on, Raph, can you help me chop up? Because we've got to show people how to do it. So look at the camera. Can you see yourself chopping on the camera? Yeah? So if you see, so the potatoes should be cooking nicely. Hopefully about 4 or 5 minutes left for the potatoes now. I'm just going to go and get another tomato. Raph, can you give another song while you're on the camera?
Piggy on the wall.
Yeah?
Oh no, here comes the engine.
Piggy beware,
Hey, said the driver.
get off the track.
Piggy went away and he never came back.
That's one of your favourite songs from nursery, isn't it?
Yeah.
You love that song. So I'm just chopping up another tomato here. Also, the good thing about this recipe is you can make it egg-free. So I have shared quite a few times on my page a chia seed egg recipe. So you can absolutely use that, and that can be a really, really good replacement to the egg if your little one can't eat egg. Also, I made it, the first time I made it without the cheese, and it looks like this time we'll probably be making it without the cheese too. So when it comes to that, you can absolutely adapt recipes so easily. We've used oat milk. The only thing obviously is if you are vegan, the fish. I haven't tried it myself, but you could absolutely swap the fish for something like lentils, tofu, even something like ground nuts might work in the recipe, but again, I haven't tried it myself. It's a really, really early recipe. And I also must add the fact that this is created for me by Emma's Food Stories. So Emma created the recipe for me. Don't put that in there, Raph. We're not going to mix that in just yet. Not just yet. This is created for me by Emma's Food Stories, who is fantastic. She makes loads of really simple recipes. The other good thing about this recipe is you've got veggies in it, you've got fish in it, you've got a bit of egg in it, so you've got protein, iron, you've got dairy, and alternatives, and you've got plenty of veg too. So it's a really good, healthy, balanced option. I'm going to just open the tinned fish now. Now, as I said, I got fish and tomato sauce, but actually when I made it last time, I did make this recipe with sardines in tomato sauce. The tomato sauce was actually brilliant for later on adding to the top of the fish cakes. It was really nice, and Raffy quite liked dipping the fish cakes into the tomato sauce from this. So actually still a win to do it that way as well. So I'm going to open this because obviously this tin can be quite sharp and I don't really want Raff to touch that too much. So we have all of our veggies prepped. We're just waiting for the potatoes, which should be another 2 or 3 minutes, should be pretty much nearly there. We have chopped up all of our veggies. And I just wanted to check the weights actually of some of the amounts. So yeah, it was 30 grams of cheddar cheese. It was 50 grams of plain flour and 50 mils of milk. So sorry, I did over egg how much cheese, but you can always put a bit more cheese in, or none, as the case may be for us. So Raffy has just had 30 grams of cheese, which is absolutely not ideal, but you know, Very hard to control. Also in this one, we've got a bit of flavourings with basil. Basil is absolutely my favourite herb. It always smells so delicious. It reminds me of Italians. It's a very Italian smell, and Raffy loves Italian food, as do I. So yeah, basil, absolutely one of my favourite herbs, and I'm always trying to include herbs and spices in children's cooking. This recipe obviously doesn't have any added salt, it doesn't have any added sugar. Egg. Let's pop that on there. Don't put your hand in the egg, Raff, because that is going to get really, really, really mucky, isn't it? Why don't you show them this? What did you win in the other room? Why don't you show that? So as you can see, it's a bit of a messy occurrence cooking with Raff. He's got egg spread out the table all over his hands, but it's fun to do. Obviously, I'm not able to concentrate quite as well, so we will get there. I'm just going to basically pop over, get the potatoes. The other thing what I tend to do with the potatoes is I tend to give them a little cool down, so I rinse them in some water so they stop cooking. Ideally, what you want to do is mash the fish in and then leave the potato recipe to the side for around 10 minutes so that you're giving it time to cool. We're not going to have time to do that on camera today, but that is ideally what you would do. So I'm going to grab it for us now, and we're going to mix everything together. So, Raff, you can do another. Do you want to do another song? Yeah? What song are you going to sing now?
Choo choo train, choo choo.
You have to sing it clearly, otherwise no one will hear you.
Ooh. Choo choo.
Choo choo train, choo choo train. So I'm just rinsing the potatoes in a little bit of cold water. They are done, so that's good news. Right, so we have now got our potatoes. It is going to be hot, you can see the steam, can't you? So we've got our potatoes. So now is the part where we properly finish off the rest. Wait, that's going last, Bubba. So could you put that down, because that's the last ingredient to go in, the flour. We'll put that there because that's the last one. So we're going to add, first and foremost, we add the potatoes. And once we pop the potatoes in, we are going to, hold on one sec, that's not going in yet. We are going to add some of the fish. Careful, because this is a bit sharp, Raff, so I don't really want you to touch this. We're going to add the fish in like this. We're just going to chuck this in. As I said, this one's in tomato sauce.
Can I just help you?
Yeah, of course you can. Do you want to put that bit in? Go on then. There we go. So you want a whole tin of fish in there, which is really easy. No, that's going in last, Bubba. So can you pass me the egg? Thank you. But first of all, we're going to mash this up. So before we do the eggs, 1 minute. Before we do the egg, 1 minute, we're going to mash these together. So we're going to mash the fish and the potatoes together really, really, really well. So they make a nice kind of thick paste. And as I said, then we would normally leave them to cool. So we'd normally then pop them down, leave them to cool for a little bit of time. But, oh, can you smell that? Does it smell, can you smell the fish? Not yet, because I need to mix this. Do you want to give it a mash for me? You give it a go at mash. Don't put your finger in because it's a bit hot. So once we have mashed these up really, really well, as I said, normally leave to cool, we're going to then add the egg and the milk mixture. Now, I don't know how much milk's in there. I've got no idea how much he actually put in. And also his hand's been in the egg, so that's gone everywhere as well. But what we would normally do right now is we would beat these into the mixture, just to give it that little bit of kind of eggy froth. Okay, well done, Raff. I'm going to get a spoon. That's it. You can pop that in there if you want. I'm going to get a spoon.
And to put in there.
Yeah, put that in there for me if you will. That's it, good boy. And then we're going to beat, not yet. We're going to beat the egg and the milk in. Can you help me beat it in? Good, big, that's it. Beat. Beat it all in. Can you smell that? It smells very fishy, doesn't it? So this is also a good way of getting fish into your little one. If your little one's not eating huge amounts of fish, you can also start with a smaller amount. Yeah, put the cheese in for what it's worth. And we'll stir that all really, really nicely together. So I did cool down the potatoes a little bit. Ideally, they'd be a little bit more cool than this. And then last but not least, once this is also, oh sorry, not quite last, we're going to add the Can you help me put the vegetables in? We're going to add the vegetables. So good idea to chop these pretty well so they're nice and small. But as I said, it really doesn't matter too much. You can mix them in however works. Just stir them in just to add that bit of extra veg to the dish. And adding in the flour. The flour goes in last. So we add the flour, and that's just to give it a little bit of thickness. So we're not going to stir it with our hands like we do normally, Raff. We're going to just mix it with a spoon. Can you help me mix it? Take the spoon. Can you help me mix it all in really nicely? So it's the kind of stirring, the mixing that is best to get the kids involved with. The chopping and the waiting and the patience obviously isn't as easy. But thank you for helping me mixing this, Raff. So what you're left with is something that looks a little bit like a cake mixture with added veggies. I'm going to show you on here so you can all see.
Why will we put them down on it?
So you can see that that's the kind of texture and the kind of mixture that you're looking for. And we are now, what we're going to do now with this, Raff, do you remember you greased this tin for me earlier? No, oh, well, actually it's all cooked, it's fine. So what we're going to do now, Raff, you're going to help me to dollop this mixture into each of these. So I hope your kitchen at home doesn't look quite as much of a mess of what I've got here. Also, oh, last but not least, a couple of little bits of basil. So I'm just tearing off a few leaves, and I'm just going to tear them up a little bit small and stir them into the rest of this mixture. So stir them in. Basil just again adds a little bit of herb, a little bit of extra flavour, especially if somebody's eaten all of the cheese. Hey, Raff. So you're going to help me spoon this. Raff, you're going to spoon this mixture into all of these. Can you help me do that? Yeah? Okay. So if I give you a handful of this, can you help me? Pop it. So we're going to... Okay. We're going to do it with our hands. Fair enough. To be honest, his hands have been all over it anyway. So what I would normally do is just scrape little bits of this into here.
I need to wash my hands.
I know, Bubba, we'll wash your hands, but we'll do this first, okay? And then once you have filled up your whole tray...
Please, may I wash my hands?
Yes, okay, I'll go and get you your hand washing bowl. Once you have done that, we're going to pop it in the oven, and it's roughly about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how good your oven is, but about 20 to 30 minutes I would say it normally is. Okay, you can wash your hands. And we'll put them in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes, and when they come out you want them to be nice and crisp and brown on top. Sometimes when you pull them out of the oven they do still look a little bit liquidy, depending on how much liquid and egg you've used, but it doesn't take very long for them to get to harden up. So leave them out to cool for 10 minutes and they should carry on cooking just a little bit if they need to. So that was much more of a disaster than last time, but hopefully, I haven't filled up the whole tray, but hopefully you can see this is what cooking with kids looks like. I hope you found that helpful. Let me know. Always interested in getting feedback, so do feedback. Lots of people said last time they wanted the instructions beforehand, so I did do that this time round. It's also been a bit longer, so it was nearly 1/2 this time, and it was about 20 minutes last time. This was a bit more of a complicated recipe. Next time I'm planning on doing hopefully pancakes or baby scones, because Raffy is already a pro at making those. And to be perfectly honest, this is only the second time I've ever made this recipe as well. So hopefully all of the food is now going into the hand wash bowl, but we'll still have some fish cakes left at the end of it, just about, won't we? We'll have a few. So pop them in the oven. I'll let you know how they go. Please do share pictures of your own if you've been cooking with the kids. If they've been enjoying it, please do share them. I really love seeing it. I appreciate knowing that people are trying some of the recipes that I'm doing. Well, I don't know why it's gone in there, darling. I didn't put it in there, did I? Who put it in there?
It was magic.
Oh, it was magic. Right. Thought so. If you can share any pictures of the recipe or your kids cooking with #CookingWithCharlotte, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it, and I'd love to share some of them just to see kids cooking together with their family, even if it ends like this, in a bit of a disaster and a hell of a lot of mess, and a half-done recipe where actually you don't have much egg or milk or cheese, but you know, That's how it goes. We will get some food out of this. Raff, I mean, this is disgusting. This is just a bowl of... Oh, and I've just poured it everywhere. Anyway, about time to quit. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to do some more lives this week, so keep your eye on those. I posted my events yesterday. Raff, you going to give them a little song or say goodbye? Going to give them a little song to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Say see you soon.